This video is all about integers. What are integers and how can we work with those? Well, when I think of integers, I think of this part right here, an I, and sometimes an I looks like this, right? Integers. And if you think about it, this is just how I remember it. Let's take a whole bunch of I's and stick them on a number line. So integers are typical values that you see on a number line. So that would be 0 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, these are all integers. But a number line, a lot of them you see with negative numbers. -5, -6, and so on. Put a little arrow there. So all of these numbers here are all integers. Negative whole numbers, 0, and positive whole numbers. So we're going to talk about how to add integers, subtract integers, multiply them, and divide them in a later video. But for now, let's just talk about absolute value. So absolute value looks like this. If we have our number line again, and we've got 0 right here. Let's say that this number up here is 20. And we're going down here into the negative side of the number line, and this side we would call the positive side. So if we're going down here into the negatives, let's say way down here, dot, 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 is -19. Well, which one of these numbers has a bigger value, a bigger absolute value? Absolute value looks like this. These two brackets, I'm going to put -19 in there. The absolute value of any integer is simply the positive amount. So -19, because it's in these brackets right here, becomes 19. Another way to say that is the absolute value of -19 is just 19 because it's 19 away from 0. What's the absolute value of 20? How far away from 0 is it? It's just 20 away from 0. So what's the positive value of 20? It's just 20. So absolute value, getting all kinds of colors in here. Absolute value is just how far away from 0 is it on the number line. Absolute value of -3 is 3. Absolute value of 4 is 4. So then what are opposites? Well, that's pretty easy. Opposites are two numbers that have a different sign. Different sign. And what do I mean by sign? Well, sign, I mean a positive number or a negative number. So, -20 and +20. Sometimes we include this plus sign just to make sure you know it's a positive 20, or sometimes we just write plain old 20. But these two are opposites. So what's the opposite of -3? The opposite is +3. What's the opposite of 4? The opposite would be -4. So once in a while you might see something like this. And this is telling you, so you got to figure out the answer here. The absolute value of -15, what is that? Let's do that first. The absolute value of -15 is just 15, right? -15 on a number line. Remember, if this is 0 and this is -15, how far away from 0 is it? It's 15 away from 0. So the absolute value is 15, but then we had this negative still there, and so we have to keep that there. So the answer to this problem is no longer a question mark. The answer is -15, because this right here became a positive 15, but then you still have this negative out front. And if I asked you what the opposite of -15, is, you would say it's positive 15. So, those are integers. Remember, integers are any number on the number line. It wouldn't include, integers don't include like 1.2 or negative 3.5. Those are not integers. Okay, integers are whole numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to infinity, and negative 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down to negative infinity. Those are integers, and opposites have an opposite sign, positive or negative.